It is indeed a pleasure to have this privilege to play here for you. We intend to give you a very fine program, so just settle back, relax, and enjoy the moment.
Good morning. See if we can focus. New webcam. New webcam woes. It'll get right. How y'all doing? Good morning on Facebook. Good morning on... I really don't know why this thing won't focus. Let's see. If anyone has tips on how to make it focus, this is a new webcam, same old webcam, but just a newer version of the one I had. But if anyone can help me, it'll straighten out. But good morning. I'm trying. Sometimes when I do that, sometimes when I do this, boom, boom. It'll straighten out. Good morning. I'm so happy that folks are with me. I'm just hopping on Facebook right now to see if I'm live, see if everything's good to go. Good morning. Yeah, I am. Good morning. Yo, thank y'all for letting a chick rest. Definitely embraced radical rest last week. I hopped back on Twitch on Thursday. Shout out to my girl Evelyn for breaking down sex trafficking, human trafficking, kind of myth busting, demystifying, just keeping it real. Here sometimes I think the news, I think everywhere, it's not even exclusive to Charleston, but the news can get real, it can be distorted in terms of how problems are presented in our media. Things can get distorted from time to time. So good morning if you're watching on Facebook. I see 3 people looking. Good morning, Taisha. Good morning. Thank you for tagging other people. I appreciate your support, sis. I actually want to get into some things that Taisha's been bringing up. Taisha, if you want to drop in the chat, you could just drop in the chat, Taisha, things that you like. How would you characterize what's going on in Charleston County? Because I want to do our conversations. Good morning, Whiskey Neat. Good morning, D. On Twitch. I want to do our conversations justice. I know I interviewed you when I was back on OM Radio, and we talked about some issues there. You have a compelling story, Taisha. But if you could drop in the chat like some things, just broad strokes, like what I should talk about today. But it's the corruption. It's definitely the corruption in Charleston County. Is corruption at its best. When Taisha and I speak, we speak a lot about the sheriff's departments within the sheriff department, law enforcement. There were issues with a lot of elected officials and city and county officials caught up in so much. I mean, we're talking about drugs. We're talking about things around sexual assault. Good morning, Meg on Twitch. Education, poverty, racism, and then our Black elected. Shout out to I think it was Crystal. Crystal, you tuned in on Facebook on Saturday, because I hopped in on Saturday too. I hopped on Saturday to talk about the Jason Cooper. Release of Jason Cooper's death, and Crystal, I think it was Crystal. It might have been somebody else. No, Tamika Middleton hopped on and talked about how some of our Black electeds, unfortunately, are not doing their job, and we're taking a closer look. We're going to take a closer look at Justin Bamberg. We're going to take a closer look at the sheriff's department there. Overall justice, Department of Justice. Taisha is saying, thank you so much, sis. I appreciate it. We're gonna really try to get into that conversation. I'm gonna do it justice. I'm gonna actually do my due diligence. This is my first weekday back. The plan is to dig deeper into what's going on in Charleston County. Programming. I know. Shout out to Michelle Perry. I've mentioned her many times here. I don't want to just call her a blogger because she's like a historian historian, an archivist, a content creator, a PR specialist. But she and Taisha both talk about the cultural conditions in Carlton County as well, like who gets to tell the stories. And I believe strongly that the power within the culture that black folks don't have, you see what happens. You see like the ramifications of that. Sometimes, y'all, it's not just about the police and the mayor and the sheriff. Sometimes it's about the actual culture. And if black folks are not charged with being the stewards of their culture, you see a lot of other insidious things take place. And I know that might sound like a stretch, but if you're a fan of James Baldwin, or other artists who have had like an activist message, you understand what I'm saying. I think there's a certain depiction of Carlton County that folks are very comfortable with, regarding black people, regarding criminality, and regarding poverty. And there are people like Taisha who've been very, very, very bold in bringing up some of the things that happen. Good morning, Trudy on Facebook. Good morning. But yeah, we're going to get into it. Let me just go ahead and jump into today. Today is already, I done ran out and committed my sin of going to get somebody's latte, somebody's mocha something this morning. So when I was out, it was extraordinarily hot. Shout out to Jared Smith with Charleston weather. Y'all know it's hurricane season. Y'all feel it this weekend? Did y'all feel it this weekend? It was very much hurricane season. Hold on, let me switch back real quick. All right, I'm gonna switch up. I see some little glitches, so I want to make sure everything's everything. It's all right. All right, so let's check over to today. 77. Today gonna get hot. The end of the week, y'all, is gonna get super hot, like crazy hot. It's here. It is very muggy, very much so hurricane season. Copy and paste weather for the next week. Wow. I don't know if that's a joke from Jared. I bet you it's like this. Copy and paste weather for the next week, he wrote down here. All right, very hot today, y'all. 86 degrees. Please hydrate. Please wear your sunscreen. All that. Shout out to number one grandma? Shout out for the sub. I appreciate you. All right, so Post and Courier hopping over here. I'm still reading. Good morning, Sydney on Facebook. I'm still reading Taisha. I just want to get through this little preamble thing that I do. Thank you, number one grandma. Here we go. So kids are very intellectual. This is a story. This is actually, I wanted to read this story. So y'all know Murray Lassane Montessori School. It's a Montessori school now, but this is a historically black school. And so I see there's a mural going on this school. This effort is being led by what it looks like a local black artist. Here, it looks like they're lifting up prominent members from the school's history. That's dope. I'm going to read about that story later. I suggest you do too. Go ahead and get that library card out and take a look at that story. Let's look at some of the highlights though. There's a lot of news. There's an ongoing series in the Post and Courier about the real estate market. Frantic buyers, happy sellers, bidding wars. This is very interesting, y'all, and not in a great way. Housing sales, shortages. This is actually, to me, it's a forecast for what's going on for people, everyday folks living here in the Low Country in terms of affordability and all that. So check that out. Quality of schools causing worry for state's military future. Yeah, our schools are crap. This is the thing. This is the catch-22. Our state is so, especially like, yeah, our governors, like the past two governors, McMaster, of course, Nikki Haley. Our governors are so hyped to woo in other manufacturers because they tout, our labor laws are super like pro-business and anti-union, anti-labor, right? So you woo businesses here because you know that there is no union activity. You woo businesses here because you can keep wages artificially low. There's a number of things, the number of incentives these manufacturers and these businesses are afforded by coming here to Charleston. But one thing that has always remained the same, the quality of education in South Carolina is low. Now, y'all know I graduated from public schools here in South Carolina. And when I tell you, and I've often said that the most singular politicizing event in my life was going to high school here, 3 years of high school. My last 3 years of high school here in Charleston County is probably the singular like thing you could point to, like, oh, when did Mika get politicized? Like, explicitly, it was there. So it was going to school here. It's so traumatic. D, you say on Twitch, Boeing was poised when they came, and the workforce was not where they thought it would be. Was pissed. Okay. Boeing was pissed when they came. Yeah, they were very vocal. They were even vocal at like a Charleston forum that was about race. One of the executives actually took a moment to kind of like vent her frustrations about the pipeline. Now, I will say this, Boeing had a responsibility to help with that, and Boeing had to have known. I think top tier Boeing leadership knew going to these rural states, they don't have the pipeline in terms of the skill set and education that they need in STEM, and also just manufacturing acumen in this specific field. They knew that was one of the trade-offs, but they had the responsibility to try to fix that and mitigate that. But how they mitigated that was they just wooed people from other areas. So as these meme pages are making fun of Ohioans and Chicagoans and folks from Seattle coming here, well, these are people who lived in other places where Boeing has been for generations, and so you have that skill set passed down from generation to generation to generation. We don't have that here, not that type of manufacturing. And so Boeing has and is still wooing folks from other areas where Boeing has been established for years, for generations. But yeah, our schools are crap. And that's not a school system, our healthcare system. You can love this state, you can love Charleston, and call a spade a spade. And our quality of education is a big thing. And I'm sure these bases are going to keep drying up as well. How can you woo families here if the quality of education is just not there, right? All right, this last highlight here before we hop to the front page real quick to take a look at the front page news. This last highlight, I'm gonna go ahead and click on this. This broke over the weekend. Sienna Cox from the Post and Courier wrote this story. Legislators add $3 million to South Carolina budget to improve treatment of mentally ill in jail. There's so much problematic with this headline. Off the top, we don't need $3 million going into law enforcement. This is almost the exact opposite of what we were asking for. We meaning Justice for All coalition members and other groups, other activists on the ground. This is almost the exact opposite of what we asked for when calling for justice for Jamal. So interesting that the pic that they use for the thumbnail for is justice for Jamal. This is not justice. $3 million. Well, let me read the story. Let me get in here. All right, Columbia. All right, legislators could send the State Department of Mental Health. The State Department of Mental Health an additional $3 million in the wake of the Jamal Sutherland death in Charleston County Jail to improve treatment of mentally ill who wind up arrested. They shouldn't be arrested. They shouldn't be in jail. You don't send someone. It's such a sloppy. For me, it was such a sloppy comparison that I made, and I'm definitely would take some suggestions on how to clean this up. But I'm like, let's just say someone was acting out. Let's just say someone was perhaps looked like they posed a harm to themselves and someone else. But, and in the street, but that person had a wound though. Like, let's say that person had some sort of, was bleeding or had a broken limb or anything like that. Good morning, Kia. You wouldn't take that, if the police were involved, the police wouldn't take that person to jail directly. If you saw someone like physically, if you can see with your eyes, you can assess that someone physically was suffering from some sort of physical injury, you wouldn't just take them to jail, you take them to get help. And again, it's a sloppy analogy, but people who suffer from mental illness, they need medical care. That's their wound. That's their medical emergency, and we just don't treat it the same. So this is just, again, legislators, lawmakers listening, being in this room, creating rooms where it's just an echo chamber where they just continue to create legislation that looks good, like the body cam legislation that wasn't funded and had all those exemptions in it, right? This is just another example of like wasted movement. If you're a basketball fan or a sports fan, wasted movement. You exerting all this energy doing nothing, right? It's empty calorie work. And so we didn't want you to do this. We wanted you to strengthen the other systems that existed. We wanted you to strengthen the other crisis intervention, those intermediary agencies. We wanted you to strengthen those. We wanted you to strengthen programs on the ground. We wanted more counselors in schools that perhaps can assess when a child is going through some sort of mental health issues. Maybe if some symptoms start to manifest earlier, maybe a counselor will be more apt to catch that in those formative years, right? And get that person on the path to treatment. That's what we're asking for. We're not asking for you to give $3 million to jails and to jails and officers who are killing us. And that's the problem. All right, the spending proposal to be debated on the House floor the week of June 7th includes $843,000 to create a telepsychiatry team, $1 million to help cover medication costs, and $1.2 million to pilot a crisis stabilization unit in Columbia area to divert mentally ill away from jails. And that should be, all of it should go there. Let me see, the telepsychiatry team. If this is all that exists outside of jails, that helps. But I don't. This telehealth thing is also a little bit of a conundrum. $1 million to help cover medication costs. That sounds vague. All right. This is not just a step in the right direction, but a huge step, says Rep. Bill, is it Herbicksman, a Republican in Bluffton. I'm like, it's not a huge step. It's not a huge step in the right direction. The chairman of House Ways and Means Healthcare Subcommittee said video released last month of Sutherland that showed the immediate need for it. No. Sutherland died in jail. I'm not going to go over that just because the content is very difficult to talk about. But this state rep went on to say his team met with the Department of Mental Health leaders, and DHEC, after Sutherland's death to figure out how they can work to prevent any more psychiatric patients from mistreatment in detention centers. They shouldn't be in detention centers, period. Good morning, Johnny James. Period. Oh my gosh. Oh shoot. Okay, looks like Rep. Clyburn's going on Pints and Politics. Finally. Okay, we see Todd Rutherford chimed in. He's a Democrat. I do want to hear the Democrats' response. Let's see what the Greek Freak has to say. House Minority Leader Greek Freak Todd Rutherford, who sits on the subcommittee, said he was impressed by Mental Health Director Kenneth Rogers' answers when questioned about the Sutherland case and what should be done. He didn't hesitate, the Columbia Democrat, noting Rogers also assured him that $3 million would pay for his plans to go right back into jail. So you're just gonna make better jails, make stronger jails? Yeah, y'all go continue to read this story. I think this is exactly the opposite of what we asked for. Y'all know what this is about, right? Y'all know what this is about. All right, this is the front page of today's news. Let me make sure I keep an eye on my Facebook. Good morning, Tisha. Good morning. I'm gonna start looking back at the Facebook chat in a second. All right, leaving legacy behind. Again, this is the story about the Murray Lassane mural, led by Quentin Chaplin. I didn't have his name earlier. So local artist Quentin Chaplin. I believe this is Quentin right here in the tie-dye. Yep. I don't have his face in the article. I should click on it. All right, so that's on the front page. Current state flag. The state, who cares about that state flag design? Another teacher investigate teens 1890 lynching. Starts group to chronicle Lexington County's racial history. Lord have mercy. Wow. I don't have the bandwidth. Okay, so May 5th, 1890, a black teenager named Willie Leapart sat in Lexington County Jail. Wasn't this the book? Wasn't this a book? Willie Leapart sat in a Lexington County jail cell waiting on a new trial ordered by the governor after evidence surfaced proving his innocence in an attempted rape of a white girl. But the 17-year-old never had a chance to win his exoneration. An angry mob of 100 burst into the Main Street jail and poured dozens. Oh, wow. That framing of that was really unfortunate. Poured dozens of bullets into him. That's a very disgusting framing. I don't know if I would have wrote that like that. Yeah, it's a sad story. All right, let me check back over to I'm going to exit out of this and we're going to hop over to we're going to hop over here to Twitter, to something that I saw from a couple days ago. Let me see. But let me hop over to Facebook real quick. Good morning, y'all. I'm sorry. I've been a little neglecting y'all. Mental health. Letitia, you said regarding the mental health story, mental health should be triaged outside of the carceral system. Absolutely. Great use of words. Exactly that. Triage. Taisha, you responded to Tisha's comment. Okay. Yeah, y'all gonna get together? I hope so. Y'all get together. That'll be a joining of that'll be some amazing work done there. Absolutely. There was something that caught my eye on Twitter yesterday evening. It's from a couple days ago. Let me see. Shout out to Simone Biles. I just love seeing this.
You think back to night 1, 2, she was the best on 3 of the 4. Vault, beam, and
I just love
she
this.
Was solid.
Not Charleston related, not South Carolina related. But she just makes up new skills.
Look at this opening tumbling pass. 2 flips, 3 twists. Never been done before. It's called Biles.
Everything.
Wow.
She's superhuman. She's superhuman. I hate supporting the Olympics, but I damn sure know I'm gonna be watching her perform at the Olympics this year. Like I'm not supporting the Olympics, but I damn sure gonna be watching it. Jesus. Oh my gosh, she's just superhuman. All right, let me get back to here we go. So of course Aaron Rupert, y'all know him, journalist on Twitter, always has these really amazing threads and these video clips, all of that. And so one video clip caught my eye. It's regarding Nancy Mace, of course. Let's go see what she got to say.
Pretty scary, but can you update?
Oh wait, no. I think that's part 2. That's part 2. Where's part 1?
President Biden just had another missed jobs report with the May jobs report, the numbers released today, and he missed that goal.
Shout out to people on Twitter who pointed out how she's talking about how horrible the economy is under Biden in this clip. Right? I'm going to rewind it. She's talking about how horrible the economy is, but look at the stock market numbers underneath the picture. Look at the stock market numbers underneath as she talks. I know there's going to be captions, but look at the stock market numbers.
Well, President Biden just had another missed jobs report with the May jobs report, the numbers released today, and he missed that goal by 111,000 jobs. And last month was no better. I mean, we're seeing the Democratic policy of.
Remember when Trump touted like jobs, the stock market as like an indication? I'm going to rewind it a little bit. You see all these, the Dow up, the NASDAQ up, the S&P up. Remember when Trump would say that's how you could tell he was doing his you can gauge his performance on the economy?
I mean, we're seeing the Democratic policy of more spending, greater debt, more expansion of money by the Federal Reserve printing money. All this is having a negative effect. On top of it, the Biden administration is literally paying people to stay home. And Neil, right before I came on your program, I got a text from a friend of mine in the district.
She got to, okay, this is one thing about Nancy she got to stop doing. And because I think it's because just not enough people really have. I think a lot of people have been anesthetized by, her comms team doing such an outstanding job to make her come off as less obnoxious and less harmful. But people have to pay attention, and they did around the time when she was making the claim against DC statehood. She kept touting the population size of DC, when DC is like larger than most, like not most, but than a handful of like Republican stronghold states like a Wyoming. Right, DC is larger than some states in terms of population. They got her with that one, and the vandalism. I think people were like, hey, hold up. You raising money. You got a Ring doorbell. Your neighbors got Ring doorbells. You got all the ADT, all of them. All security signs all up and through your neighborhood. This is Daniel Island, y'all. This ain't Wamala Island. It's Daniel Island. So these are very well appointed homes with a lot of money, people protecting their stuff. And you mean to tell me you couldn't find, we couldn't solve the case of the vandal, of the Antifa vandal, right? So I think people are starting to catch on that Nancy Mace says a lot of things that don't make sense, and that she should be, like, if she was actually facing a journalist would ask her or push back, right? She is a liar, Kia. And so look, so she just said, I just got this text from a friend. Listen to this. This is just why even make this up? Like, why just stop creating these anecdotes of things that, like it's hard to kind of prove, but like, I've got this anecdotal evidence.
District who went to a retailer a few hours ago, and that
I'm gonna wind it because I talk
from a friend of mine in the district who went to a retailer a few hours ago, and that retailer shut its doors a few weeks ago because they couldn't get people back to work. The federal government is paying people to stay home, and it's hurting businesses. Well, President Biden just had another missed job.
So she's saying that Biden is paying people, even though we know 25 governors of Republican states, Republican governors rather, 25 Republican governors have gone ahead and stopped those stop many of those unemployment benefits in effort to boost the economy, right? We already know that. So you're looking at May's numbers. Governor McMaster already ended those benefits early for your state, Nancy. But you're saying your friend, you just got a text from a friend. So she just went out shopping, and she went to a place, and she just found out your friend just went shopping. She went to a place, it was closed, and your friend knew, because your friend talked to ownership that quick, and knew it was because people were receiving unemployment benefits. That's why your favorite boutique, your ice cream shop, or whatever the hell you're talking about. You're saying like that's just a stupid and sloppy thing to use, a technique to use. And she keeps doing things like this. It might sound small and petty, but it's an unforced error that I don't understand why she feels compelled to constantly make. Like, I don't understand it. I just got off the phone with a friend. I have my phone right here. And she told me she went to go shopping in her favorite boutique. The boutique was closed. Then she found out that the owner says the boutique is closed because Biden is paying people. That's not what happened. Like, that's not even remotely close to what happened. But she says things like that amid, and I'm not even like, have there been misses with the Biden administration? Absolutely. Has there been misses with the recovery on all levels, economically, health-wise, all of that? There's criticism. I don't mind she critiques it, but let's just be real. And he's not paying people to stay home. Again, 25 Republican governors have already rolled back many of those benefits that folks were receiving. Then the second part of this was just hilarious.
Tuesday.
The second part was hilarious. To me, hilarious. Let me turn it up and let me rewind it. Oh my gosh.
Congress.
This is the update on the vandalism.
And it's the first time I've had to talk to you. It's only been a week, and you've heard on my weekend show, and then just a few days later you get word your home has been vandalized, and that's a home for you and your daughters. And I'm just wondering,
doesn't she have a son? Drop in the chat. Doesn't she have a son? I thought she had like a son and a daughter.
Do we know what was behind it? It got pretty scary, but can you update us?
It's jarring, really, and it doesn't feel good when I feel like I've got to look over my shoulder. I'm a single mom. I'm raising my two kids here. This is their childhood home, and when I
again, I said this was it last week? Like, she keeps saying, these are my children, and these are my children's homes, and this is my children's childhood home. This is my home. This is where I sleep. This is my home where my children and me sleep. Like, I don't understand. Like, again, it feels like she's trying to program us to feel this fear. This is my home. And then like he goes on to say, well, you were home when this happened and you didn't even know it happened. Let me tell you something. The way I know these Ring doorbells are set up, or some of these security systems are set up, that someone even approaches your step, your whatever, certain alarms and sensors go off. I know old fashioned situation in homes I've lived in. We've had floodlights come on if you step in the backyard. Like, come on, you was sitting Congresswoman's ma. Like, if you was in the house while this happened and you didn't even know this was going on, and it took a minute to spray paint what they spray painted, and they got up all up close to the step, they got up to your house. Come on, girl. But yeah, keep telling us this is your children's childhood home. Duh. The fuck?
Picked them up from school on Tuesday. One of the first things we talked about one of the first questions was, Mommy, are we safe? And it's distressing to be in the political environment that we're in today, that somebody will show up on your home and vandalize it because they disagree with you. That's
not what happened. Worst case scenario, some silly, wacky youth pulled a prank that they knew would get a lot of attention, just like they did over at Bishop England, like down the street.
Have disagreements, but this isn't the way we should go about talking about them. And I've been a very strong voice. I talk against my own party and the Democratic Party for things that I really believe in. I'm passionate.
She likes to leverage that I tell the truth regardless of party interests, and that's not true. That's not true. That's not even close to being true.
Today, we had a strong lead 2 days ago, and yes, last night I found out that lead went dry. I'm feeling very discouraged today. It's past time people that do this kind of political vandalism.
And he asked for an update, and you just doubled down on how much fear you have and how much your kids are so unsafe in Daniel Island, but you don't have any leads. Your doorbell camera is the lead. Ain't no way.
Or harm other people or threaten people, that they're held accountable. I just want the person that did it to be held accountable. And whoever did this, if they thought they were going to intimidate me, well, they thought wrong.
I hope it turns out to be like one of her children's babysitters or something. That sounds real whack. I just really hope it's like somebody she knows. Like, seriously, lady.
I'm going to work harder than ever. I'm going to do the job that I was elected to do, and nothing's going to stop that.
And it really does bring me back to the Post and Courier, how they work so hard and so deliberately to make her like, this was the angle. Like, hey, any opposition you face, let's make sure it feels it was a way of taking what happened with the insurrection and trying to turn it on to the Democrats. Like, oh, it's not just Democrats who are fearful. It's not just Democrats who are victims of political violence. You are too. Okay. And it's like the Post and Courier came with a specific, I don't know if the comms team talked. I don't know what that strategy was, but there was a concerted effort. And I know that the journalists probably don't like me saying that, and Thomas Novelli and Jennifer Berry Halls may not like me suggesting this, but the way they really, really worked to show us that she was frail, that she was vulnerable, that this is a single mom sheltering her kids from all of this political violence. And we know full well that Nancy Mace contributed to the rhetoric that helped build that kind of climate, and none of that was in that piece. None of what she did, none of her complicity was featured. Instead, it was a full-page ad. To me, it felt like a full-page ad, but it was a full-page, front-page story about her victimhood. And now this is something that she's trotting out whenever it is a red light and a camera. Right. And so this is really interesting. And if you think that I'm just like beating a dead horse, I am. But I'm also trying to teach you how our media can be used willingly and sometimes unwillingly. But in this case, this was definitely and you don't bring Jennifer Berry Halls in on a story to talk about her harrowing escape from political violence from her party. You don't bring in a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist to write about a freshman congresswoman's first 100 days. You don't do that. You don't do that without some sort of drama and some sort of story being a part of that. And I think that now this is Fox News. This is on the weekend. Don't nobody give a fuck. Ain't nobody really watching like this. But you can see she's staying committed to the role of victim of damsel in distress, who will fundraise the hell out of issues like these made up issues.
So you and your daughters were home when this occurred, but you discovered all the vandalism that next morning.
I thought she had a son.
Correct?
I was wrong.
No, we were not home. In fact, one of my kids had a sleepover on Sunday.
Oh, she wasn't home. I thought she was home. And I thought she said her kid rode the bike back from the movie theater. Didn't she say that? She said, she wasn't home. And said her kids had a sleepover. Hey, Justin. Justin on Twitch, you say, if she is sincerely concerned, I would expect someone in her position to express more empathy for people who feel unsafe in their homes by merely existing. Absolutely. Yeah, like there's another angle she could have taken other than defiant, mama bear, right? That whole Sarah Palin, pit, what's the difference between a hockey mom and a pit bull lipstick? Like, that's all this is just Sarah Palin 2.0 and just as ditzy. Yep. And I'm going to use that word. But okay, so she said she wasn't home. She wasn't home when the vandalism took place.
Sunday night. I had date night. So I wasn't even home when it happened. I found out when
she had date night. Get it, girl.
I was on my way back in the morning, and the police were notified a jogger had come by the house and reported it early in the morning, and I was already on the way home.
That's very convenient. It's kind of like how Harry Griffin was out with Meemaw the day the Proud Boys came to Charleston.
That morning when I found out and walked up on my house, the police were here. It's very unsettling.
I think she's saying she wasn't home now because she never said that before. I don't remember her saying that she wasn't home. I think she's saying that because she's being accused of writing it herself. So now it's date night. It wasn't date night last week when this was initially reported, right? Right. It wasn't date night. Walk of shame. Shut up, D. But it wasn't date night though. Hey, what's up, Ray Sean on Facebook? Good morning. Like, I ain't shaming nobody. Yo, girl, get it. But you didn't mention date night before. You didn't mention. She kind of set herself up though for people who will shame people for going out all night. You kind of set yourself up. You said your kids got a sleepover, and you came home in the morning. How you doing? You set yourself up, Nancy. Let me rewind that real quick. Hold on. Let me rewind this.
Do the job that I was elected to do, and nothing's going to stop that.
So you and your daughters were home when this occurred, but you discovered all the vandalism that next morning, correct?
No, we were not home. In fact, one of my kids had a sleepover on Sunday night. I had date night. So I wasn't even home when it happened. I found out when I was on my way back in the morning, and the police were notified a jogger had come by the house and reported it early in the morning, and I was already on the way home that morning when I found out and walked up on my house. The police were here. It's very unsettling. And if I had footage I could release of it, I would. I'm desperate to find answers and clues because I want this person.
How you not have footage, Ma? You a congresswoman. You come within 10 yards of my house. I'm gonna have something so sensitive. You touch a blade of grass on my lawn, I'm gonna have fake dog barking. I'm gonna have them lights that come on. It's gonna be like Home Alone. It's gonna be how Kevin had the burglars fooled to think it was a house full of people. That's me. If I'm an elected official, shit, I might do this tomorrow. It's gonna look like rocking around the Christmas tree in my house. If I'm an elected official and people know where I live, please, I'm going to have a Michael Jordan cutout on the train. I'm going to have all kinds of lights and music blasting. I'm going to just do everything. You ain't... I remember she said that bike was there. My kids ride this bike. My kids just rode home on a bike. She was trying so hard to make herself, and she didn't think it all the way through. Like, you ain't touching a blade of grass on my lawn. And I'm telling you, danger. I'd have, let me see, whose voice would I have? I'd have Morgan Freeman's voice, like on record, like in a light flash. You ain't doing that. Get out of here. I'm sorry. It would be like Home Alone though. You ain't you ain't touching. But the comments underneath were so funny. Everyone keeps talking about everybody in the morning. Everybody's doing the whole y'all doing that CSI thing. I didn't believe this. No, I don't think she that dumb. No, it really, you know what? This is so bad. But I literally thought about this joke before I even saw this tweet just now. I'm like, it's like OJ when OJ said he was gonna look for the real killers. I was like, Meg, you got me. Meg, you get my jokes. We need to know, Kia. That would be a perfect, if we could find out who she dating. We need confirmation. That would be a great Saturday morning, Kiki, with me and you, Kia, like talking about all this salacious stuff. Oh my goodness. Yes, it would. Let me switch over here. Just so y'all know, Home Alone is my favorite Christmas movie, like of all time. It's like, that's why I'm surprised I haven't referenced Home Alone more, because it's that. Oh my God. When I evacuated my parents one time for the hurricane, you know what I said to myself? I'm like, I made my family disappear. Every time it comes hurricane season, I'm like, here you go, Ben and Trudy, go over there. And I'm jumping on their bed, eating popcorn. All right. Let's go to some local news. I'm being silly. Too much caffeine. All right, let's go. I'm not going to talk about Floyd Mayweather. If that's something that people are talking about, I'm not going to talk about it. I talked about this on Saturday when I hopped on. Is it weird if I play on Twitch from Saturday? I might do it. But talked about like the flooding in downtown over the weekend. We're gonna have more rain this week. I'm telling you, y'all, if you all are planning to be downtown anytime this weekend, please make sure you tune in to Charleston weather or any of your trusted area meteorologists, because it was no joke. I mean, I've never seen flooding like that severe downtown in certain areas, and a lot of areas where those new hotels have been built.
Neighborhood saw inches of.
And this is Goose Creek. Shout out to Maris, bringing the heat again with the face. Maris Jenkins, but also she's a great journalist. But let's go.
Rain. That rain David was just talking about, leading to flooded cars and homes. News 2's Lexi Moore joins us on the News 2 balcony. Lexi, some residents showed you how much their streets flooded.
Yeah, Maris, I spoke with residents in the Foxborough townhomes in Berkeley County.
They
say water was up to their chests, and compare what they saw to Hurricane Hugo.
Water up to their chest?
I've been through a couple hurricanes here, and this is the worst it has ever flooded here. Ever.
Look at her nodding.
Goose Creek hit hard.
You saw little mama nodding like she been through Hugo. Little mama was nodding over there. That's how I'm be with my mama, a height woman. Not laughing at the flooding, y'all.
Been through a couple hurricanes here, and this is the worst it has ever flooded here, ever.
Goose Creek hit hard with heavy rainfall.
Oh my God.
Streets and cars flooded. Some residents were stuck in their cars.
I sat there and it was dime-sized hail coming in, and I wouldn't get out of the truck.
Karen Well has lived in the Foxborough neighborhood for 10 years. She says this is the most flooding she's ever seen in the area since Hurricane Hugo.
I saw Goose Creek on the news, but damn.
Scared for everybody.
She says she stacked dozens of towels to stop the rain from coming into her home.
Thundering and lightning. And next thing I know, cars are being flooded, and we had to run outside to try to clean the drains.
Neighbors, including Billy Dover, say rain and hail was coming down so hard and fast, he watched water get into cars.
Totally covered, and that's 32 inches right there.
Leaving water stains and debris.
The small trees at the middle of the island there were laying over, and it was just a pretty nasty storm.
Wells says this storm has reminded her to stay alert.
From now on, I will make sure that I bang on every neighbor's door to make sure they're okay.
That's crazy. That's scary as hell. That's scary as hell.
Storm Team 2 meteorologists urge you that weather conditions can change quickly, and what happened today can happen again.
No, y'all. Climate change and irresponsible development. That's the story. When that story gonna break? Like, seriously, when is that story of like irresponsible, like the development, how development is causing some of these issues? And Kia, you saying West Ashley barely got rain? I'm in West Ashley too. We got it, but it didn't do that, right? It rained, but it wasn't like no, it wasn't that flooding here. That doesn't mean that it won't, because it will. But I'm serious, like it paralyzes the entire area. Now it's not like you can't even, I'm talking about maybe 10 minutes of rain. And granted, this was significant rainfall, but it wasn't like 40 days, 40 nights. It was just, ugh. All right, second South Carolina. I don't want to talk about the death penalty. I do not want to talk about these regressive ass death penalty things. Let me see if there's anything. Was there something here I wanted to see though on WLTX? No, let me see. This is something else. When I was on break, I saw this news regarding Tim Scott. Here it is. Regarding Tim Scott. So The Hill, this is from The Hill, y'all. RNC featuring Tim Scott in ad campaign attacking the Biden agenda. This also, other reporting pointed to that the RNC having this ad featuring, this is a national ad featuring Tim Scott. This is showing you further evidence that he's being groomed to be the next leader of the party. They're trying to run this dude for president in the upcoming presidential election. I think it's gonna be interesting. Shout out to my friends who I had a couple conversations last week. I sat in a couple living rooms last week, and we had some tea. Kia, you should have been there. The tea was scalding. Whew. It was scolding. But go ahead, Tim, if you want to run, Tim, run. So let's look at the ad.
A president who promised to bring us together should not be pushing agendas that tear us apart.
What?
Our best future will not come from Washington schemes or socialist dreams. It will come from you, the American people. We are not adversaries. We are family. I am confident that
your party literally staged an insurrection. What are you doing with a straight face, my dude? How much they paying you to do this? Jesus.
The American people, we are not adversaries. We are family. I am confident that our finest hour is yet to come.
The Republican National Committee is responsible for the content of this advertising.
So it's not just what he said in the ad. It's not just that Tim Scott. Well, it's not that was said in the ad. It's that this is from the RNC. This is the direction they want to go in. They've tapped Tim Scott to be the next face of the party, right? Yeah. And so that's significant. Let's read a little bit of the reporting here from The Hill. The Republican National Committee has released a new ad attacking President Biden's agenda, featuring Tim Scott. Right, we already know what he said. Let's skip down here. The remarks were taken from Scott's rebuttal to Biden's speech before a socially distanced, pared down joint session of Congress earlier this year. Okay, we already heard the quotes. During his first 100 days in office, Republicans have aimed to paint Biden as beholden of the most progressive arm of his party, unnecessarily growing the size of the federal government. Dude, y'all done grew to debt. You ain't got a leg to stand on. I don't even want to hear nothing about that. Right? This was just some more recent reporting on those numbers. I wanted you to use this to kind of counter or to create some sort of balance between what Nancy Mace was saying versus what was actually what the actual reality is. And like I said, there's definitely room for critique, and I expect a critique. But Nancy Mace, as always, as usual, was off. So let me see. What's it say? Breaking news: stocks making the biggest moves in the pre-market. Right, Nancy, if your president was in office, you'd be touting that. President Joe Biden responds to the May jobs report on Friday, saying steady growth in jobs and the decline in unemployment evidence that his economic plan is working. I wanted to, you know what? Let me go back to Twitter real quick, because there was something else that I liked over the from the Economic Policy Institute. Y'all know that I used to lift up. I lifted up the work of Jacova Williams, who used to work at EPI, but they had this interesting story. Well, one of their economists wrote this story in the New York Times regarding the recovery. And also, y'all, just so you know, like this is part of coordination too, right? You don't have an opinion guest essay in the Sunday Times accidentally. Right, especially after Friday's job report comes out with not the numbers you wanted, right? So this is just how both sides work at it, y'all. I'm not mad at it though, because I trust EPI. I definitely trust their economists. So Ms. Sherholtz wrote this, Heidi Sherholtz, right? She's a senior economist and director of policy at the EPI, at the Economic Policy Institute. All right, let's read this a little bit. Talk of labor shortages is everywhere. That is to say, many economic commentators and policymakers have been bemoaning the supposedly alarming reports of lack of workers to fill jobs vital to the ongoing economic recovery. But there's always a chorus of employers complaining they can't find the workers they need. We have to look beyond the anecdotal reports to fully understand the data. And I thought, so I'm going to invite y'all to read this story. I read most of it. It's really quick read. No, actually, I think I read the whole thing. It's a really quick read. I skipped down though, because I did a little quote tweet to Nancy Mace about what she's not really disclosing when she's talking about her friend, when she picks up her iPhone and she says, oh, my friends just called me after going to their favorite haberdashery that was closed. Some bullshit anecdotal commentary. We need numbers. And she didn't tout not one number. She didn't tout one stat. She didn't even have her team get a stat that she could kind of, how sometimes you could flip stats to make them look like anything you want them to look like? She didn't even do that. So right here is what I read. Nevertheless, many commentators have ignored this evidence, evidence that there are some other factors. They conclude not only that there are widespread shortages, but that the culprit of the pandemic unemployment insurance benefits. We've heard that here, and I will say this: our reporting has often kind of kept this kind of analysis at the top of people's consciousness, it's the unemployment benefits. People are being paid to stay home. You heard me. Whenever you want to know, it's a Republican talking point at this point, right? Nancy Mace is using it. Everyone's using it. Oh, you're paying people to stay home, even though we know 25 Republican-led states, 25 governors from Republican-led states have already repealed these unemployment benefits. Right? So nevertheless, many commentators have ignored this evidence. They conclude not only that there are widespread shortages, but that the culprit is pandemic unemployment insurance benefits. Governors in 25 Republican-led states have now said that they will no longer accept federal unemployment benefits. This will cut aid to nearly 4 million impacted workers, despite the absence of compelling evidence that jobless benefits are causing problems in the labor market. Instead, we have considerable evidence that this is actually helping the job market. This is helpful, right? And it's just something to look at. So look at it another angle, go a little bit beyond the talking points on both sides. Look at some data. Y'all can pull apart. And what I love about looking at data is you can pull apart how you can pull it apart for yourself. You can look at some numbers from your local, whether it's your local state, your local county. You can take some of this evidence, you can take some of this research rather, and compare it to your lived reality. And also look at some numbers that have emerged from trusted reporting from your area, or call that reporter that's on the business beat and ask them what they think of this story. I do that all the time. I don't care if it wastes their time or not. It shows that you're reading their stories, that you're taking a closer look at their stories. So I encourage you to do that. Always engage people who write these pieces for your local paper. If you read something in another national publication, I don't care if it's the Wall Street Journal, I don't care if it's Fox Business, take whatever you see and then go to your reporting hey, does this shake out here? Have you seen similar trends here? You can do that. I wish more people would do that, because sometimes these reporters are sitting on information and research that they can't print. It's just not usable. The stories that they're writing don't hold all of some of this really important research. So sometimes engaging them is useful, if that makes any sense. Let me take a look over at Twitch in the chat. I don't know how Facebook is doing. 45 taught them. that all they have to say is everybody says. Absolutely. And pick up a phone, right? Pick up a phone and say, my friend Beth Ann in Mount Pleasant told me her favorite coffee shop. All right. Yeah. Thank you, D, for chiming in. I appreciate it. And you too, Kia. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. There was some. So over the on Saturday, I hopped on Twitch because there was a lot of things happening. Let me just go ahead and yeah. Let me see. It's kind of weird because I don't like watching myself back. I really don't. But it might be an easier way to. Yeah, it might be an easier way to kind of talk about some of the things. So yeah, this is it. Yeah. So over the weekend, hopped on Twitch to talk about the Jason Cooper shooting. I just want to tell y'all, please go back and watch this. One of the most important. It's on YouTube. It's on Twitch here. On Twitch, if you're watching on Twitch, it's on Facebook. It's on my feed on Facebook. But so what I talked about, without going point for point, is how the Post and Courier released the Jason Cooper shooting footage, which is something y'all know I've been very vocal about Jason Cooper's death. I've been calling for justice. I know it's really complicated for some other people. It makes me angry that more people haven't really rallied for more commentary on this. I know people are looking for clear-cut, easy to advocate for victims of police extrajudicial murder, but the case I'm making with Jason Cooper, or what I'm trying to say through Jason Cooper's experience, through his death, is that even when the situations get complicated, even when you say Black Lives Matter and you're out there in the streets, once those convictions are challenged, what do we do? Once we're faced with a more complex situation where cops are killing folks, what do we do with that? That's one thing. The other thing is that I'm not believing the cops. So go back and instead of watching this over, because that doesn't make any sense for you to hear my voice, but go back and watch this Twitch. I stopped piece by piece, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to look up the video again. Here it is. All right. Shout out to the reporter, Steve Garrison from Post and Courier, who sent me the link. I actually want to hop in my DMs. Hopefully I don't let y'all see something. Let me see. It says in it. All right. Okay. So I'll go right here. Right. So right here, he sent me this link. Steve Garrison. So I was trying to find the video when they popped up on Thursday in the Post and Courier. I was like, well, where's this video? I thought maybe the FOIA request worked, like maybe the police furnished the members of the press or those who filed the FOIA. I thought that maybe the police sent them the video directly. And if I come to find out, Steve was like, no, it's on the critical incident briefings tab on the city website. So I'm going to encourage other people watching this. When now I know. I've always known that there was police information on the website, but now I know to look at this tab, look at this section a little bit more closely, right? D, you said I made a great case. What we didn't see. Oh yeah. So so I want to kind of get in there, and this will be where I kind of get off this morning before I get into work. I want to go back to, so make sure you go to the city's website. And then you go to, so it's home government, then departments, then go to police departments, and then there's a critical incident briefing video. And so it's a CIB video. And you know what? Yeah, it's very alarming. And then it'll take you directly to YouTube. So let me close some things out. I also talked about Mia McLeod on Saturday. I go over her ad. I think her ad was exceptional. I think she's running a real campaign. You could tell just by Googling Mia McLeod, South Carolina, you get their ad results. Oh, her team is on it. And real quick commentary before I hop into this video really quickly and then say goodbye for the morning. Mia McLeod, in terms of her campaign, she already is, I won't say behind, but she's behind in terms of Joe Cunningham has already made significant strides regarding fundraising. Let me get this off this because I don't want to talk about her and then I'm not actually talking about Mia McLeod is going to have to she's just going to have to rely on retail politics more. I want to just have this up while I'm talking about it. She's going to have to rely on retail politics. So go back to that video from Saturday's live stream. You'll hear my breakdown of the ad. I think the ad is exceptional. I think the branding is perfect. I think the color choices is perfect. It's purple. So you already know what time it is with that. Bipartisan. It speaks bipartisan. It's soft. It's feminine. They're going to try to other her. They're going to try to make her the scary black woman. She's already doing things, or her team is already doing things to soften that. Y'all know I don't like nativism that's weaponized against other people, like other people who've chosen to make South Carolina their home. Y'all know I'm not a fan of nativism, but damn it, if she didn't really knock it out the park with her being born and bred here and having a vested interest in this place where she's never left. I think it was expertly done. I thought it was brilliant. So go back and you hear my commentary on that, on her ad that she has. Again, it's on her. It's a pin tweet on her Twitter page. She had a placement in where she chose to kick off her campaign was Chef's Kiss. She had a placement right here in People magazine. At least they're, of course they're online. I think most of magazines are more online than anything. But yeah, she had a placement here in People magazine. I think she's knocking it out the park, and they're gonna try to other her and make her scary. Drew McKissick already dismissed her bid, her historic bid. She's already killing it. So that's my take on that. So that's also included after I talk about this right here. Again, content warning. This is really difficult content to talk about. And I just want to just play a few minutes. And for those who didn't see it, this is very problematic.
Hello, I'm Sergeant Elizabeth Wolfson of the Charleston City Police Department's Public Information Office.
What's problematic off rip, we have Sergeant Elizabeth Wolfson. She's the narrator of this video. This is a 17-minute and 7-second video. It is a composite of several body cam videos from that night, but none of the body cam footage where this incident was initiated, where gunplay began, none of that body cam footage was made available to the public. You have the police here working to orient your focus on Jason Cooper and not on what they did, not on how they arrived to the scene, not on how that rookie, the first to respond, the lone cop to respond, not on how that rookie responded, not on how, like, nothing. We don't know how Jason Cooper got from inside the building to outside. The person who called 911, the 911 caller was also outside. So that leads me to believe that she was able to talk him outside. Who opened up fire first? The cop that was shot, the responding officer, the rookie, was yards and yards away from Jason Cooper's dead body, and he said he was hit in a name tag. We don't see that on the body cam footage. We don't see any evidence of that. I'm not saying it didn't happen. We don't see that. We also don't see that officer who was the first to engage Jason Cooper in gunfire. We don't see that in the video. I'm kind of going fast because I don't want to rehash the entire thing, but these are the broad strokes. They narrate it. They tell you everything instead of showing you. And this video is redacted. This video is edited, and this video is cherry picked. They cherry pick certain pieces of the video of each body cam portion that's featured. They cherry pick this to tell a narrative. They are literally creating a narrative. We see this now as a trend. We see this in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. We've also seen it with Mayor Summy with the Jamal Sutherland case, and him narrating and showing us a very edited video of what happened while Jamal Sutherland was in custody of the North Charleston Police Department. We know for a fact that it left out vital information, and ultimately, Mayor Summy, your police department should have never had Jamal Sutherland in custody. He should have never been. He was not stabilized. He was in distress. He should have never been placed in custody of your police department. Whether or not the facility wanted to press charges or not, they could have done that without him going into custody of the police. But we're not necessarily questioning that because the video, he's trying to answer all of our questions preemptively. So this is a problem. This is a huge problem. And if it was a justified shooting, y'all know I don't believe in any justified police shootings. No, there's no justified extrajudicial killings. And like I said this, and y'all gonna find this problematic, I don't care if he came out, guns a-blazing. I don't care if he came out like Rambo. No. The cops, you guys are skilled to manage the situation better. And if he did come out with all this firepower, show me how it started from beginning to end, unredacted, unedited. Show me how it started. Why are you not showing me how it started? And if that if that body cam is not available, tell me why it's not available. And I hope the Post and Courier did more than just take this and report on the video. I hope that they pose questions to Luther Reynolds and everyone else, and maybe even Elizabeth Wolfson. And I think that anytime Luther Reynolds steps in front of a podium and a microphone, press should be asking him questions about this redacted and edited video. They should be asking him more questions, but they won't, because 2 guns were found on Jason. Looks like a cop was hit. We don't know if the cop was. I don't know what. And if y'all believe in police in 2021, if y'all believe in them off the top of just because they have a badge and they're sworn to protect and serve, if you believe in them after what we've seen here, then I got a bridge to sell you that heads to Mount Pleasant. That's all I got to say.
The following critical incident briefing, including audio, video,
I know that was a lot, y'all, but this makes me upset.
A recent incident that resulted in an officer-involved shooting. This briefing has been completed so that you may have a better understanding about the circumstances that led to this use of force by officers with the Charleston City Police Department that occurred on December 29, 2020.
Whatever.
Into the area. The subject ran out of
and they do a lot to talk about his criminal past. They do a lot to talk about Jason Cooper, the felon. They do a lot to talk about Jason Cooper, the whatever. And in some instances, that is justified. We need to know that there was a 911 call. We need to know that someone felt that their lives and the lives of some children were harmed. But what they didn't explain was, okay, that 911, you confirmed that the woman outside screaming and yelling after Jason was shot in the head, you confirmed that she was the 911 caller. What happened? How did she get downstairs? She was calling. She called 2 times. She was fearing for her life. He had already been outside the house, right? How did it escalate? Why, what did she say? What did she say? She was distraught. None of that is answered in this video. I wanted to use this diagram. I wanted to show this diagram really quickly because you see, right, and I'm gonna see if you can see my mouse right here, over here to the left of your screen, the primary dispatch officer. This is where the primary dispatch officer, the rookie who had a month of patrol experience, but been on the force about a year, but only a month of real patrol experience, 30 days of patrol experience. His squad car is over more to the right, where this long red arrow is. That's a squad car, but he was over here. He was over here, and that's where he was allegedly shot. Jason Cooper is over where you see the tip of that long red arrow. Jason Cooper is right there, right? Or it's involved. It says involved citizen. I'm assuming that's Jason and not the 911 caller. Yeah, that's Jason. And then you see the backup officers more to the right. So they parked their car, unmarked car, and then they all came out here. Right, and they show you whose footage. They show you their footage. They look at the vantage point. So the body cam footage that they release is from the officers who coming from this side, coming from the right. They show you their response. As you hear in the video, gunfire is already being heard. And so they're coming and responding to what was probably the primary dispatch officer's call, right? Right? So we're getting a vantage point of people behind the situation arriving later, not the vantage point of someone who was the first to arrive, who initiated gunplay first, or who was a part of the initial gunplay. I don't know who shot first, right? All right. So that's that. That needs to be said. The larger picture that needs to be told as well is that this last one of this apartment complex, which I visited for the visual, that took place right there at the scene of Jason's death. Shout out to Elder Johnson. While I was there, you realize if you don't know where this is at, you don't know where this is at. This low income or affordable housing unit, these units have been sold in February following Jason Cooper's death by the hands of the police, and that factors in a lot of this as well, right? Okay, Justin, you said, who do they think they're fooling by releasing partial videos? Who could possibly believe that they're telling the whole truth? Well, you're 100% right. Kia is giving you a shout out for that. These videos are dehumanizing Kia. You went on to say, and in the video, it looked like the cop pushed her to the ground. It did look like she fell to the ground, right? Graphic content, y'all. I'm gonna hit play. But you're right, Justin. It doesn't fool you or I, or doesn't fool many of my followers. But a lot of people are now satisfied. Well, Tamika, they showed the guns he had. Well, Tamika, he shot at an officer. All of that matters. But let me tell you what else matters. The whole truth matters. The whole truth matters. If it was a justified shooting, even though we don't believe in justified police murder, but if it was a justified shooting, prove it. Prove it. And you still didn't do it. So when this came out, I was expecting to see what really happened. And lo and behold, all I saw was Officer Wolfson narrating this shit, narrating some edited, redacted stuff. And it was, to me, it's criminal how this can go down.
Building's breezeway, firing his weapon toward them.
Okay, so now we're gonna go to real quick. I know I said I'm gonna hop off because I gotta go to work, y'all. All right, so this is where this is where we see they just drop us right in the middle of the situation from the vantage point of the police officers who responded after the fact.
Strong language and graphic images. Viewer discretion is advised.
Very strong images and graphic, very, very, very graphic. Warrior mentality. Warrior mentality. Did y'all hear that? I want to say that I heard gunshots before they even hopped out.
Seconds of prior video is captured without audio. Once again, due to strong language and graphic images, viewer discretion is advised.
He's on the fucking breezeway. Up top. Stop. Go. Right there. Building. This building right here. Hey, he's on a gun. Where? He's on a gun. Hey, shots fired. Hey, shots fired. He's dead.
So they engaged him. That was, I didn't even see that the first time. So Jason was right there on like this part of the screen on the sidewalk.
Where? He's on a gun. Hey, shots fired.
Who shot first?
Hey, shots fired. He's down.
And so the responding officers, y'all came to the scene and y'all killed them. Y'all. That's what it says, right? So you all killed them. So the responding officer didn't, like, there were 12 shots fired altogether, I believe.
Don't move! Back up!
You read my mind. They show the body cameras of the cop who ran and hid. They do show the other ones too, but that one ducked for cover, going the opposite direction. Y'all, this gun right here, you see the blurred out face by the officer's thumb. Graphic. It's really tough to even know, like, it's just really tough to see this video again. I also want to point out something Evelyn brought up over the weekend, the use of the female officer to narrate. That was an intentional choice as well. So you have more believability. Hey, you're gonna believe a female cop. She's not aggressive. She's not even though we know she's probably a tough cop, but they're trying to use her femaleness in a way to help frame the story as well. That was all intentional. No, I'm going to fast forward because it's just really hard. No care is it really administered at all to him. And then you have, like, D, to your point earlier, it looks like they pushed the woman down, but it looked like she fell down really hard.
Well, hey, you hurt? Are you hurt?
So they're running to the cop. They're running to the cop, but...
Like, you started EMS as well.
He's still breathing. And then they go to another cop's camera.
Get it off, make sure.
They say he was shot. He said he got hit in the name tag.
Get it off, make sure. You good, Ian? Hey, go get the chest seal. Hey, where are the keys? You're good. You're good.
I don't see nothing. They said it was his name tag he got hit.
Get the key, I got my chest sealed in the car. He's good. No, he's good. He's good. Just make sure. Get it off. Make sure. You good, Ian? Hey, go get the chest seal. Hey, where are the keys? You're good. You're breathing. You're good.
No one's giving aid to Jason Cooper, by the way, y'all.
Go. Where up top? Right there. Hey, he's got a gun. Where?
Lay down. Don't move. Please don't move. He's down, man down. Hey, secure. No. Get back. Back up. Hey, I got cover. Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, he's dead.
He's dead. Fuck. Yeah, let's get a perimeter.
All right, I'm gonna stop it there. It's so many questions. And I really didn't anticipate playing it again. So many questions. And because this is not like Jamal Sutherland, it's not like Jamal Sutherland at all. But the other thing that makes it so much unlike Jamal Sutherland is that this is a low income community, less resources. What we saw with the Sutherland family, we saw a family that looks very much supported. Miss Amy Sutherland is very strong and very vocal, and not to say that Jason Cooper didn't have the same type of family support. Judging from the visual, there was some really fine folks there who loved Jason and who wanted other side of the story, wanted another side of the story to be told. But different families, different circumstances, different population, different area. It's just really sad. It's really sad, and it's an insult. It's a slap in the face to know that CPD can release this footage and not be accountable and they continuously tell us about transparency. They continuously beat us over the head with, we're being transparent, we're being forthright. And yet we never ever are seeing the unredacted, unedited video. And I know a lot of people are going to talk about black on black crime. Get out of here with that. A lot of folk want to talk about, when we kill our own such and such. Get out of here with that. The reporting, even like there's a bigger story here, and if you want to fall on convenient self-hatred and internalized white supremacy, if you want to believe what the oppressor has kind of floated out there about us for generations, right? Black on black crime is not even unlike some of the things you used to tell about the inherent criminality of black people during the times of enslavement. So if you want to keep continuing on this white supremacist trope or narrative, I'm gonna switch camera views, about how this is all on Jason, and Jason had choices. Jason did have choices, but there's a bigger story that needs to be told about the socioeconomic conditions, about his mental state, about what took place leading up to this incident. I'm not saying he's not without fault. I'm not saying he's an angel. I'm not saying that he didn't need to be held accountable for threatening the life and safety of not just women but children, possible children that were in the unit. I'm not saying that at all. As I said on Saturday, it's not about exoneration. It's about police power and checking police power every turn. And we have to check it even when things are not neat, even if things are not easy to define. And we have to get comfortable with questioning police power. We've got to get comfortable with challenging what they put out there in the press, challenging how they choose to cherry pick what they choose to share with us. The laws are set up to exonerate police, and that's a problem. And even if the victim of extrajudicial police murder, even if that victim has a checkered past, even if that victim is a felon, all of that, it doesn't mean that he shouldn't be afforded due process. He, she, or them should not be afforded due process. They should be afforded due process, period. And that's the greater point I'm trying to make. So get out of here with this convenient, he had this, he had that. He did. So do countless other white people who get to be apprehended peacefully. Dylan Roof had a gun after killing 9 people. Dylan Roof had a gun after killing 9 people, and they took him to Burger King. So don't tell me you can't. Don't tell me you can't. Oh, it wasn't the same thing. Dylan Roof had a gun on him. Dylan Roof had a gun with him when he was apprehended by police, and they took him to Burger King. So don't tell me that you can see the humanity in a mass shooter, but you can't see the humanity in a black man in an impoverished neighborhood that's going through decades of this divestment from the city, have gone through decades of depravity because the city sanctioned depravity, decades of TIF district chicanery, right? Decades of gentrification and closing schools. Don't tell me you can see humanity for Dylan Roof and taking Burger King after killing 9 people and him being arrested with his guns, right? Don't tell me you can't do the same here. So if you want to be easy and convenient and not read and not study on how this is a trend and how this is not, and how they dispense this information is not, this should be the thing everyone should be talking about. All the Black Square, Instagram and I want to tout this Black history fact. Support Black business. All these folks who are committed to equity, who are committed to making Charleston a better place. Y'all should be talking about how this don't feel right. If you don't want to cape for Jason Cooper, whatever. But y'all should be talking about how the police get to release what they want, how they want. Why don't we have stronger body cam laws? Why don't we have stronger legislation to where the police can really, so we can enforce transparency? Not that we have to wait for them to become magnanimous and finally tell us things. No. When do we get to dictate how the police engage with us? Why do the police have all the power in this instance? Right? Yeah, and he walked away with his life. 2 white kids who engaged in a shootout with cops were taken alive. Where was that? The guy that just shot up the grocery store had a gun. You talking about in Denver? They do what they want to do, I tell you. And some of the people who just stay in my comments, stay in my DMs, well, he had a gun. So did Dylan Roof. Like, he had a gun. He shot a cop. Did he shoot a cop? They didn't show me that. I didn't see the cop, taking a hit and falling to the ground. I didn't see his body cam. They would have been better off saying he got shot in the body cam. They would have been better off lying about that. So I wouldn't be asking about that. They would have been better off saying, they shot his body cam up and there ain't no footage. Not his name tag. And so Florida and Denver. Yeah, so Kid, you talking about the Denver dude, right? You talking about the Denver dude. And then D, you talking about in Florida. I'm gonna look that up. Oh yeah, no. Yeah, those wasn't it, the 14-year-olds who had the AK? Oh God, y'all gonna be late for work. Hold up. D. They was like 14 years old. I remember that. Gun. Shootout. Police. I remember that. And I was like, I thought I was hearing it wrong. Let me see who's going to have the better footage. I'm going to go with, let me do today's show real quick.
The Volusia County Sheriff says in 34 years of policing, he has never seen anything like this. In an edited 9-minute clip, we see deputies trying to calm.
Oh, they edited too? Okay. And this was this was released June 3rd. Okay.
Down those 12 and 14-year-old kids before they fire at deputies with an AK-47 and a shotgun. Oh. We'd like to warn you, these images.
I'm sorry, I'm not showing it to you. Hold on, I'm sorry, I forgot to switch my camera. Sorry, I got real wrapped up.
The Volusia County Sheriff says in 34 years of policing, he has never seen anything like this. In an edited 9-minute clip, we see deputies trying to calm down those 12 and 14-year-old kids before they fire at deputies with an AK-47 and a shotgun. We'd like to warn you, these images are disturbing.
Shots fired. Everybody get hard cover.
This jaw-dropping scene starts with Florida deputies taking cover behind a tree.
It's either a shotgun or a long gun. Female has it in her hand. Juvenile male looks like he has something in his hand as well.
And it quickly escalated.
Put the gun down now! She's pointing the gun. Pointing the gun behind the trash can.
The stunning 90-minute sequence released as an edited 9-minute video by the Volusia County Sheriff's Department.
Where have we gone wrong that 12-year-old and 14-year-old think it's okay to take on law enforcement.
The deputies responding to a 911 call from a nearby group home, which reported the kids had run away. Authorities say the kids then broke into a nearby home where they found hundreds of rounds of ammunition, a handgun, a shotgun, and according to the home...
That's where you went wrong. That's where you went wrong, America. And more guns than people in this damn country. How the hell? So they escape a group home and they find a cache. Did they know the guns were there? How they know how to use the guns?
Homeowner.
I grew up in a home. This is like... my parents were kind of whack for this too. But I get it now. I grew up, we couldn't even have super soakers. My mom and dad was like that. Like, nope, you're not having no big old water gun. You could have like we could have all kinds of other water stuff, slippers, whatever. I don't even know what we had, but we definitely could not get the super soakers. Oh, we wasn't allowed to have that. So I don't even know how I don't even know the first time I saw a real gun. Might have been my high school boyfriend because his dad was a cop. I don't know.
An unassembled AK-47.
The weapon was disassembled. They assembled it and fired it.
Sheriff Mike Chitwood says deputies spent 45 minutes trying to contact the children before the gunfire started.
Don't make me do this.
You hear that?
Don't do this.
You hear that? All that proves to me is that y'all know what y'all doing. Don't make me do this. Because they already assessed it was a little shorty in there. That just shows me that cops can make decisions. That's all I'm hearing. And these kids knew what they were doing. They assembled a damn AK-47. But tell me how. Okay.
Before the gunfire started.
Don't make me do this. Don't do this.
Police say the kids fired several times from a patio window, with the boy telling investigators the 14-year-old girl likened the shooting to the video game Grand Theft Auto. But when they challenged deputies outside, law enforcement says they were forced to fire, striking the girl around 7 times.
Get up on her, get up on her. Greg, you get that rifle?
Before rushing to save her life. This video blurred by the department.
They did everything they could to prevent either of these kids from getting injured.
I am so proud of what
Did she survive?
They did everything humanly possible and above and beyond.
And for those who say, oh, well, they shot her too. They shot her. You heard what that man, you heard what that cop was saying. Don't make me do this. Don't make me do this. Like my point is that there were, when it's a certain type of assailant, there's a calculus or a calculation or some sort of math being done where they're trying to exhaust every other recourse or every other, they're just trying to examine every other method of diffusing the situation before they shoot. We don't see that with black bodies. We don't see that with black young bodies. We don't see that with black young people, black people in general, black military vets, black women, black pregnant women, black girls, black boys, black poor people, panhandlers. We don't see the same type of decision making in real time that we just heard on that body cam. We just don't see it. So did the girl live? Damn.
At one point, one of the deputies tossed his personal cell phone through a broken window, risking his life in the process, trying to contact the kids, but the sheriff said they refused to talk with them.
Look at that. They did you throw the cell phone, you do this, you begging and pleading, but when it's a black body, it's shot on sight. Begging and pleading.
And raising the stakes here, guys, is the 12-year-old is also diabetic, meaning he needed his insulin to survive. He is unharmed this morning. Craig, back to you.
All right. Sam Brock there for us in Florida. Sam, thank you.
So what happened to did the girl die? Thank you, D, for bringing that up. Did she die? Okay, the 12-year-old, let me just see this.
Now to new developments in that shocking shootout between police in Florida and 2 children armed with an AK-47 and shotgun. The young boy making a court appearance via Zoom, now charged with attempted first-degree murder. Victor Okendo is live in Miami.
What happened to the
more
girl?
On this shocking story. Good morning, Victor.
Black grandmothers too.
Good morning, Michael. The boy and the 14-year-old girl he was with are also facing armed burglary charges.
Okay, so she's alive.
This morning, we're learning more about their troubled past as she is still in the hospital and he makes his first court appearance.
I wonder if they avoided I wonder if they avoided shooting center mass with the young girl. I wonder if they shot at her extremities and not her center mass. Because that's the other thing. Like, why can't, like with the Ma'Khia Bryant situation, right? Ma'Khia Bryant had a knife. Why didn't they shoot at her arm? Why didn't they shoot at her legs and lower body?
Madam Clerk, what have we got?
That's the 12-year-old boy who was arrested after a violent, hours-long standoff with Central Florida deputies appearing in court via teleconference Thursday.
I'm going to order that you be held in secure detention.
In 3 weeks, he'll be arraigned for attempted first-degree murder and armed burglary charges.
Charged as an adult?
Deputies were forced to take cover as that boy and a 14-year-old girl allegedly opened fire from inside a house. The pair
I did not watch this story, D.
An AK-47 and a handgun.
Here's female has a long gun pointed toward me.
The Volusia County Sheriff's Office says the kids ran away from a children's group home Tuesday evening, then broke into that house and armed themselves with the homeowner's guns. The Sheriff's Office says when the girl came out of the garage firing the shotgun in the deputy's direction, that's when they shot back, striking her. She's reportedly in critical but stable condition. Now new details are emerging about the children's past.
The juvenile justice system is broke.
According to
we
police,
know that
the
here. We talked about that on Saturday.
Was arrested and charged with starting multiple fires in April, but she was released back to her mom, then placed in foster care.
The 12-year-old boy does not have a criminal history, but he has made some pretty alarming threats at school. He's been in foster care since 2016.
Well, hey there, GMA fans.
Our foster care system, our Department of Juvenile Justice system, all of that is broken. Dee, thank you so much for that, because I this actually was so important in terms of making that argument about de-escalation. We saw that firsthand here, and we see it a lot of times, but not when law enforcement encounters black bodies. We do not see those de-escalation tactics employed when it's a black body. Oftentimes, even if it's a black juvenile, Tamir Rice, oh, he looked like an adult. Oh, Michael Brown was an adult. Well, Michael Brown was older, but you get what I'm saying. Michael Brown, he was this. The kids that got shot at maybe at like the 7-Eleven and whatnot. Oh, they posed a threat. Trayvon Martin. Oh, he looks like a big scary dude, a thug. Like, all of our children are adultified and criminalized, and and sometimes forget height and forget weight. You can look at a person and tell. Look at this cop assess this 14-year-old girl who up here, Bonnie and Clyde out there. They were able to assess that she was a juvenile. They were able to assess a bunch of things, and then you heard them calculate. Oh, please don't make me do this. Please don't make me do this. But we're not afforded that. So when you want to come at me in my DMs about, oh, Jason Cooper had this and Jason Cooper, watch that video and listen to those cops de-escalate. Did you see any of that in Charleston? Do you ever see any of that in Charleston? No. Yeah, thank you. This is why I love Twitch, is that I love Twitch because you all can drop things in chats and make the show interactive. And I love it that you can help me with my blind spots or just things I just don't know, and put it at the forefront of the broadcast. I really appreciate you, Kia. Appreciate you, Dee. Appreciate everyone. Justin, Evelyn, good morning. Yeah, so many failures with that story. I feel for those kids. I feel for those kids. They've been through something. They going through something, and they've been through something to literally have the audacity to break into the home. First of all, lead a group home, break into the home. I'm sure that group home probably hell. No disrespect to the staff that really care about them kids, but I'm sure that group home was hell. Break out the group home, break into a home, find guns, assemble guns, and then engage the police in the shootout. You got to be going through something. I'm not arriving at the conclusion and like, F them kids. I'm not there with that. That's sad, and it's a failure of the system, and we keep seeing that. This actually should be in conversation with the Ma'Khia Bryant story as well. Like, what's going on with these kids? And I don't think Ma'Khia Bryant was in the room. I think she was trying to defend herself, and I think that the police could have just chilled out I think the police could have chilled out and could have definitely de-escalated, could have assessed the situation way better with Ma'Khia Bryant. Ma'Khia Bryant should be with us right now, just like these two kids are with us right now. So, and we already talked about, I'll follow the SCDJJ story a little bit more closely. Maybe I'll pick Zakia's brain and figure out what's going on, and she can give more context. I already invited her to the show, so hopefully she'll join us so she can contextualize the DJJ situation. All right, Kia, one last comment from Kia. They need to play the Jason Cooper and the 12-year-old kids shootout side by side, right? Systemic racism and de-escalation. Kia, couldn't agree with you more. Absolutely. Thank you for tuning in. Gotta get to work. I'm 4 minutes late. Let me go clock in, order some breakfast from Early Bird Cafe and Early Bird Diner, excuse me. Let me order some breakfast from Early Bird Diner and get to work. Y'all have a great day. I appreciate y'all so much. Bye.